Tizo creates all-mineral sunscreen that fits into any skincare routine. Tizo sunscreens are lightweight, virtually invisible, and free of chemical sunscreens, so they're reef-friendly. Free of dyes, fragrances, and preservatives, it's elegant sunscreen you'll love and that loves your skin. Tizo Skincare is the perfect partner to our sunscreens in the fight against photoaging. With powerful antioxidants and benefit ingredients, Tizo Skincare helps diminish the visible signs of aging and prevents further damage. Visit tizoskin.com for more information. DMK is unlike any skincare company on Earth. Named after visionary founder Danné Montague-King, DMK is committed to providing individualized products and treatment plans that heal skin on the cellular level, whether the condition concerns pigmentation, acne, inflammation, or signs of aging. DMK is home to the original enzyme mask, the game-changing formula that sends oxygenating, tightening, and exfoliating signals into the skin to enact changes in skin structures from the inside out. At DMK, we believe everyone deserves to feel the confidence that comes with healthy, beautiful skin. Learn more at DannéMking.com. That's DANNEM King.com.
Hello and welcome to ASCP Esty Talk. I'm Ella Cressman, licensed esthetician, international educator, and content contributor for Associated Skincare Professionals.
I am Maggie Staszcuk, licensed esthetician and ASCP's program director.
Okay, Maggie, we have a shout out again. So this week's shout out goes to our guest. Y'all know me. As per usual, I was perusing the interwebs and I ran across a post that made me spit out my coffee. So before we get into the post itself, let's first welcome our guest, Joelle Lee. Let me tell you a little bit about her in case you don't know. She is a highly respected skincare expert, educator, celebrity, esthetician. Let me underline that because it's important for the topic. She is the author of 2 best-selling books, Esthetician on a Mission, Business Building Workbook, and Multicultural Skin Treatments, Learn How to Effectively Treat Skin of Color Using Chemical Peels and Laser Treatments. In addition to all that, she's been featured in numerous national consumer publications and as a guest on radio programs around the country. She is recognized also for being the former personal esthetician to First Lady Michelle Obama during her time in the White House. Welcome, Joelle. It's great to see you again, or talk to you really here.
Thank you so much for having me be on your podcast. I was very excited about this. I've worked with Ella in the past, so I'm always happy to support whatever that she's doing.
Thank you. I, to you, which is why, of course, I follow you on all of your social media. And let me just share with Maggie and with our listeners what the post said, okay? So I'm going to read it verbatim here. It says, estheticians with an exclamation point. Question, why does it seem like the aesthetics industry, all caps, is turning into the entertainment, again, all caps, industry? I got estheticians reaching out to me talking about everything they want besides a client. They have been an esthetician for 10 minutes and they only want to focus on being an influencer, getting a production crew for their videos, getting a new wardrobe for photo shoots, and chandeliers for their treatment room with no clients. Things have surely changed in the industry since I started out over 20 years ago. We actually cared about mastering our skill set and genuinely and authentically building a client list when we were starting out. I'm trying to figure out if estheticians really want to be estheticians or if they want to be famous, or maybe they think it's a pathway to fame, or maybe it's all 3. I can't wait to see these answers to these questions. Please, estheticians, help me understand. Me spitting out my coffee.
Yeah, that's what it said. I was having a moment that morning.
I loved it, though, because I had a moment. I loved it. I was like, this, help me understand, too. I can't wait to see what this is, because you're right. I mean, Maggie's been licensed for a long time, too. I won't give away the number, but I think we're of a different generation. And we talk about that a lot on our podcast. Like, this is new ground, new territory. So to see that made me think a few things, because a lot of estheticians think that is the pathway now. We talk about it a lot. In fact, one of them is a commenter on yours. She said, yes, because as a 9-year esthetician, the social media marketing has switched up. We used to be able to show our work. Now it feels like you have to create reels and skits and just to keep growing. Face palm emoji. Let's talk about that. Joelle, what do you think about those things? Is the production element or expectation of today's aesthetic professional gradually morphing into the prove it mindset?
Well, just to be fair, I think that right now, besides even the aesthetic industry, I think anyone that is either self-employed or working on their own all feel that the social media is a pathway to some level of notoriety or fame or what have you, right? They're all using it more of a source of entertainment, likes, clicks, and so on. The way things are moving has really made me feel like a veteran. And now I know what it feels to be a veteran in industry. I do still believe in just word of mouth marketing being one of your best sources of generating clientele. But what I think people don't really understand is that even if you've decided that this is the new trend or the way to advertise, likes don't equal money. Having a lot of followers doesn't equal anything monetarily. So you can be incredibly popular at making skits. You can be incredibly popular just on social media in general, but still have zero amount in your bank account. Okay, so it only matters if it truly generates an income for you.
That I think is so valid. That's so true. And there has been a shift in the industry. And just, I think in all things in our society, you have all these people doing reels, doing TikTok shop. Everyone's scrolling and addicted to their phone. And I don't think there's any one industry that has not been affected by that, in my opinion. And certainly the beauty industry is definitely.
100%. Yeah. It's like the wave of doing business, and it might be contributing to like brick and mortar stores and such, but it is an interesting perception. When we started, all three of us, when we started, aesthetics wasn't as popular.
The aesthetics industry wasn't a young person's game.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I know when I started, it was every woman's second acting one. So everywhere that I went, they were 50 and up. You know, when I started out, I was always the youngest, and it had a different cachet to it. The whole idea of being the beauty therapist or the esthetician had so much class to it and prestige almost. What I saw a shift in was the age group coming into the industry. And for years, it was kind of an older woman's industry. And to be fair, a lot of older women were seeking the service. Okay, so you have to understand that the services that you're providing were more anti-aging and so on. And so the esthetician and the client were not far apart in age. So when I started out, I felt very young, like a baby in the industry, because everyone around me was much older. Then something happened when Brazilian wax came, microblading came, and lashes. Okay. And there was this huge wave of how do I become that, states rushing to figure out if this is an avenue to get licensed as an esty, because a lot of estheticians sign up to do a lot of these other services and not necessarily aesthetics. And some are even making up services along the way. Okay, that they just do there. But we're just pulling it under the umbrella of aesthetics. So when you say the three of us and how long we've been doing and all of that, there have been many shifts in our industry, especially in the last 10 years that I can speak to from just being out there and being in the industry myself.
I would agree. I think one of them too is also the medical side.
Totally.
Yeah. And Maggie, as a school director, when you were teaching or when you were directing this school, that was probably different than when you were going to school.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was in school, medical aesthetics, that was not a thing. We were learning the basics.
And then we saw towards the end of your tenure when I was coming and teaching or like supplementing there, that there was the to Joelle's point, I want to be a makeup artist. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm coming here to be a makeup artist. So it seemed to be the I want to help people. Where before, like similar to Joelle's experience, it was a second career. I want to be able to help people. And I'm like, I want to have a career here. I want to help people was an answer. I want to do medical aesthetics, and then I want to do makeup. And now exactly what she's saying, like to do lashes or different aspects, and another shift towards I want to be famous, maybe.
Well, not just famous, but I do think that the real issue is the idea that you're going to be rich in aesthetics in overnight. If I see one more 6-figure conversation about doing something and an esthetician making thousands, she was an esthetician Monday, she's making thousands Friday and teaching classes the following Monday. Okay. All of it is ridiculous to me. I have so many people that come through the coaching program, and to just give you an idea of that, 50% of them are very much like I said, listen, I just want to be known. I want to be an influencer. I want people calling me, having me hold up their product. How do I do that? How many times do I have to post a week? What is the easiest way for me to get to the largest amount of money with the least amount of work? And then I have people who are like, wow, I've been in the industry a while. I feel like I can't compete. I feel like all these young people are taking over. I feel intimidated by social media. I feel intimidated in the direction that aesthetics is going. So I really see both sides. But in saying that, I think it does start at the school. I think that schools mislead a lot of the girls that sign up. I think that they make a lot of promises to them to get them to sign up. They teach them no part of having a business in the school. It's usually just, based on the state and the test of the state. But for some reason, every esthetician at school thinks she should have a suite. I don't know what happens there where they all decide to get suites and have no clients. But believe, whether it's looking at other estheticians on social media, like I said, hang up their beautiful chandelier, paint their room beautifully, and buy beautiful linens, but there's never a picture of a client there. But they're like, I've got to get this room. I've got to get this chandelier. What's my paint scheme going to be? Everything. I need a production crew. I have to have branding photos. I have to. I can't see any clients without a branding shoot. Brand what? What are you branding? You don't even know what you like to do in the industry. You haven't mastered anything in the industry. Your skill set isn't there, and so on. So it's really, I just think it's focusing on the wrong things. I think that for those of us who truly got into it to help people and truly are attracted to the industry, whether it be just for skincare or even the medical side of it, is that building the clientele and finding ways to build the clientele, not just with social media, and actually finding your niche and mastering your craft should be what you're most focused on, especially when you graduate.
I'm going to read another comment that was on the post, Joelle, and it says, I've been here 30 years and the vibe has definitely shifted hard within the past 5 years or so. Social media has our profession misconstrued. Everyone wants to be an Esty based on what it looks like in real, REEL, life, instead of real, REAL, life. Silence our pro-Esty groups because it's the same topic all the time. I just graduated school and got a room. How do I get clients? Shock face emoji. I'm flabbergasted at the instant microwave mentality. There's definitely a disconnect between client care and being an authentic esthetician. They continue to find out the hard way this business is not easy and it is not a game.
Yeah, and most estheticians are estheticians. I would say it's the 3-year, if you've made it past 3 years, you're the veteran. When you look at it, it's always grand opening, grand closing. And a lot of them don't make it because of that mentality. The way I look at it is like this. When you think about even getting your aesthetics license, really think about state to state, because some states, are even under 300 hours. So this does vary state to state. So I don't want to say this statement as like a blanket for everywhere you live and so on. But there is not that much required of you to get an esthetician license. If you really think about other professions, if you think about going into anything else, how much more would be required? How many years would be required and so on? So you have to understand that if I come into something, and maybe this is the first something I'm trying. Some of us, like I said, came in, we were something already. It was a second act. We put our time in. Maybe we got a couple degrees. Maybe we did this and we did that. We do have some level of work ethic, some level of work experience, and we know what it takes to actually get somewhere. But I'm talking about those that are now coming in, that this is probably their first career or their first time going to school to actually be licensed for something and so on. Let's say it took you 9 months to be an esthetician. I think what happens is when a lot is not required of you to obtain something and say there's something, I think there's a misconception that a lot won't be required of you to sustain it. And what I see is if I did the minimum to get something, why is so much required of me to maintain this or even grow this? And I think it goes along with the same mentality. Even when you give them what they may have to do, like I'm teaching a class even this, in a couple of weeks, I think it's all study on how to build your business. And when I have these classes on business, and I even talk about things you can do outside of social media that just require a little bit more work, it's like, I'm not doing all that. But you'd rather hire a production crew to come in and do 4 reels, for you professionally and so on. But they're just like, what is really going to be required of me? How can I bypass that?
I wonder, though, if that's not the distortion of the perception of aesthetics based on social media, because the client is looking for that too, right? So the general public is associating at the same time, as we said, the client's getting younger, just as the practitioner's getting younger. And they look for the similar metrics. They do look for how many reels do you have? How many followers do you have? So it's this influence comes, I can see how they are. And I think that's interesting. So is there a distorted perception of this industry because of social media? And how about this too? How do we feel about non-licensed influencers influencing the general public? Because that's the other thing that we're up against. If they're not going to do it, and they are licensed, right? So you talked about, there's different license requirements, sure. And I don't disagree with you by any means. But at the same time, there's people with nothing out there talking about positioning themselves as an expert, ending up on the Today Show, and because they've done research. So there's and because they have likes and because they were on a certain social media channel or something. So how do we not only compete but then beat them?
Here's the deal about who's not a licensed esthetician, because the reality is this. Before there was influencer, there was the girl at Sephora. There was the girl at Clinique, that I fought against. So that's about who the client is choosing to get their information from. I can be up against people selling any skincare somewhere. I can still be up against that. Whether or not it's a person you're following every day, that's still a choice by the client. Because I had clients who, I think it was different for me because I spent so much time educating the client and positioning myself as an expert in a clinical environment, that even if a client heard something from a so-called expert, they ran and by me. It was the relationship I had with them. Clients have opinions when they come in, even if it's they were reading New Beauty, or they were on YouTube and they saw a video. I didn't necessarily consider myself in competition with those people. I didn't find myself in that situation, because even if the client brought it up and even if I thought something was wrong about what they were saying, I was able to educate them on that and who that person was and so on. It was a different situation. That was a part that I didn't feel threatened me.
Well, I'm sure that there is going to be more on this conversation. I agree with you. I think that there is definitely an interesting, what's your motivation to get into this industry and to succeed in this industry? I think, in my opinion, it has to be balanced. Like, let's be honest, starting your own business is not for the faint of heart, which is where a lot of them go. So if you see someone on social media seemingly like nailing every aspect of aesthetics, from the decor and lighting to their practical skills, no, there's probably more to that story. There's hard work in acquiring and maintaining a lasting client base. Get your clicks, but be sure you are sharing accurate information. and don't rely solely on social media to build your practice. We want to thank Joelle for joining us, for posting that to spark this conversation. Thanks so much for your time today, Joelle. We really appreciate that.
No, thank you. And I'm happy to join you anytime.
I love it. We'll have you back for sure. Now, listeners, we really want to hear from you. Is aesthetics becoming entertainment, or is social media a modern tool to build credibility? Comment on our social media posts or send us an email at getconnected@ascpskincare.com. In the meantime, thank you for listening to ASCP Esty Talk. For more information on this episode, or for ways to connect with Maggie or myself, or to learn more about ASCP, check out the show notes and stay tuned for the next episode of ASCP Esty Talk.
Are you interested in providing results-driven treatment services? Join a team of like-minded individuals who share your passion and support your success. With more than 1,000 franchised locations in 49 states, Massage Envy is not only the nation's #1 provider of massage services collectively across its franchise network, but also a national leader in skincare. Start or grow your career at a Massage Envy franchised location. Visit massageenvy.com/SDcareers for full details.